Yo, Holmes, was geht, es gibt die Bam Bam, yo, der dritte DevStream von Destiny heute, Into the Light, DevStream Nummer 3, Digga. Sozusagen eine Live-Reaction, ist eigentlich gar nicht mehr live mittlerweile. Anyway, aber erstmal, hi, wie läuft's? Ich hoffe, heute ist besseres Audio-Setup am Start. Ich habe mich darum bemüht, dass es etwas besser ist. Auch das Lighting-Setup, ein bisschen New Apparel am Start, ein bisschen neue Klamotten und so. Yeah, und bevor ihr skippt, ich unterglieder mal kurz, ne? Also ich laber erst kurz was. Oder vielleicht skippe ich das auch, dann auf jeden Fall gibt es dann noch einen Teil. Ich zeige euch was über mein Thumbnail, weil es kam jetzt schon längeres nichts mehr auf meinem Kanal. Geiles, mit einem Edit oder so ein Scheiß. Und drittens geht's halt in den Stream. Es ist ja nun mittlerweile kein Livestream mehr. Man kann jetzt wirklich auf Twitch skippen, ne? Also halt das Video direkt von Bungie skippen. Deswegen, ich habe es dann nochmal audiotechnisch ein bisschen rumgetweakt so und ein bisschen die Knobs getwitcht und so. Yeah. Und by the way, nicht stören lassen, nebenbei knöpper ich hier so ein paar nice Nüsschen mit rein noch. Anyway, also ich skippe einfach mal den Laber-Part und ich zeige euch mal was Thumbnail-technisch ist, weil wir wollen es ja irgendwie ein interessantes Video haben, ne? Okay, das war hier da. So einer meiner Thumbnail-Ordner oder einer meiner Main-Project-Folder sozusagen. Also, das ist eins meiner Thumbnail. Das ist jetzt übrigens, by the way, nur so ein Demo-Ding, ne? Das ist nur so ein, es ist nicht fertig, aber ich wollte es euch mal zeigen, weil ich habe das Gefühl, es gibt ja diverse Elemente, die ihr dann nicht sehen werdet oder nicht bemerken werdet. Und im Endeffekt, also ich will es halt trotzdem mal zeigen, ne? Mal gucken, ob ich überhaupt noch im Frame bin, wenn ich hier rede. Ja. Oder vielleicht ziehe ich das mal ein Stück hoch. So, genau. Ja, übrigens, ich habe die GIMP-Datei im Background schon offen. Können wir nämlich auch gleich nochmal reingehen. So, da seht ihr eigentlich, was hier alles so reinfließt, so an ja, ich meine, es ist ein Thumbnail. Man rotzt eigentlich 3 Bilder drauf und fertig, ne? Aber ich bin kein so ein so ein Faces-Zieher. Ich mag das nicht. Ich weiß, das gibt Klicks, aber ich finde das irgendwie scheiße, Alter. So, und jetzt hier seht ihr beispielsweise nochmal von den Musterungen, ne? Wenn ich das jetzt mal wegmachen würde. Whoop. All das, was hier aktiv ist, all diese Augen, die ihr hier seht, das sind die aktiven Ebenen. Und ich sag euch, Leute, der Shit hier drüben, dieses fucking Tiger-Muster hat übelst gedauert. Alter, das ist halt irgendwie so ein Sprinkle von so milchigen Braun. Hier drüben sind eigentlich so goldgelb bis ins Weiße übergehend. Diese Flakes, die ihr hier seht, warte, ich blende es mal ganz kurz aus. Warte, wo ist der Shit? Ja, Musterung, genau. Ist ein bisschen scheiße durch die Brille hier zu sehen. Und zwar der Edge Rip. Mach ich mal raus. Seht ihr, da sind die ganzen Kantendefinitionen dann weg. Und jetzt sieht das halt auch von nahen vielleicht cool aus, aber wenn man mal rauszoomt, kriegt man das gar nicht mehr so mit. Und vor allem, wenn das dann ein Thumbnail ist, vielleicht so groß, dann kriegst du das eigentlich gar nicht mehr mit. Ja, anyway. Auch das hier hat ziemlich gedauert. Eigentlich ist es noch ein bisschen anders. Ich zeige es euch nämlich auch nochmal. Warte, gehen wir mal in den Folder rein. Whip. So, das ist ungefähr das oder das hier. Ja, ne? So sollte das eigentlich aussehen, so ein Triple-Ding. Ich wollte eigentlich hier Season, also hier, wie heißt denn das? Das Lightfall-Icon, aber da habe ich leider keine richtig gute Datei gefunden. Und ich will nochmal kurz was sagen, ne? Es gibt sogenannte SVG-Dateien. Das sind Scalable Vector Graphics. Lange Rede, kurzer Sinn, die sind viel besser als normale PNGs. Aber die 2 Dinger hier habe ich selbst nachgelegt. Das hat mich auch arsch gedauert. Also das habe ich schon früher nachgemacht für ein Projekt, für einen Kumpel, aber anyway. Ja, ich würde mal sagen, jetzt gehen hier gleich mal die Headphones drauf, Alter. Und jetzt kommt nämlich der Moment, auf den ich mich eigentlich schon ein bisschen gefreut habe, Alter. Ich slide mal ein Stück ran. Er sagt, muy bien, Alter. Ich find's geil, Alter. Yeah, dieser geile Look. Dieser geile Dude hier. Egal. Selbstliebe kommt später. I'm touching myself tonight. Anyway, ja, okay, dann können wir mal GIMP gleich wieder schließen. Ja, möchtest du speichern? Nee, bitte zerschreddern Sie meinen gesamten Scheiß. Ja, yeah, und dann gehen wir rein. Ja. Also, ich weiß jetzt eigentlich schon, es dauert noch 2 Minuten, ne? Ich gehe noch mal in OBS rein. Ja, kann ich nämlich meine Fresse sehen. Also, es dauert noch 2 Minuten ungefähr. Achso, stimmt, ich könnte ja. Nee. Ja, und dann gehen wir gleich mal, wenn es anfängt, dann drauf. Ja, achso, heute gibt es Exo-Missionen, ne? Ich hatte eigentlich gedacht, die hauen so Quostov-Shit raus. Also ich habe gedacht, die machen eine neue Mission und machen dann so einen auf... Warte mal. So, jetzt könnt ihr mich besser hören. Ich habe eigentlich gedacht, die machen so einen auf Quostov-Shit. Also die machen so einen auf Exo-Missionen, dass die Quostov sozusagen reprised wird. Oder sowas, weil halt 7 Jahre Destiny 2, ne? Bungie 7 und so. Und weil ja auch ein Teil des Kosmodroms in in The Final Shape wiederkommt. Ja. Ey, theoretisch kann man sich auch diese Schrift, die ihr seht, ne, Into the Light. Es gibt ja manche Leute, die setzen sowas dann halt nach, ne? Also oh, shit, es geht los. Es geht los, ich halt mein Maul. Warte, ich mach
Welcome to our third of 3 developer live streams to talk.
So. Okay, so Leute, geht gleich los. Hey, sorry. Ja, ich könnte eigentlich skippen. Machen wir mal. Einstellungen sind ja schon voll, ne? Ja. Mal Fullscreen. Ich weiß übrigens jetzt nicht, wie hart ich drin bin, wie hart ich mit dem Bild bin, wenn das jetzt Fullscreen wäre. Deswegen mache ich mal hier hoch, ne? Ich mache mal hier hoch. Ich kann das nämlich gerade nicht sehen. Machen wir Vollbild. Jetzt müsste ich eigentlich in einer relativ nicht nervigen Ecke sein. Jetzt geht's los.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's good to see y'all. Welcome to our third of 3 developer live streams to talk about all the cool stuff coming up with Destiny 2 Into the Light. My name's Andy. I work on the social media team here at Bungie, and we've got an awesome set of topics to go ahead and cover today. But first things first, we wanted to go ahead and remind you guys of one clarification we made. For starters, all of the weapons in the Brave Arsenal will now be releasing on April 30th. So just as a quick reminder, all those weapons will be available for you to farm over the course of Onslaught. There's many ways with which you can go about it. For starters, obviously, you can go ahead and attune yourself to a weapon. So whether you want to go ahead and grab that recluse that you've had your eye on for so long, you've got the opportunity to go ahead and do that over the course of Onslaught. Also, there's going to be the chest up by Shax as well, so you can go ahead and farm some additional rolls there. But worry not, you'll have plenty of chances to dive in, grab the weapons you want, whether it be through our site's quest lines or otherwise. Those opportunities will be wide open and available. But we have a whole new set of topics to discuss today, including some reprised exotic missions, a look at the PvP map pack, and a couple more details at the end that we'll go ahead and share with you in just a bit. But as usual, it won't just be me talking through it. So let's go ahead and tell you about the wonderful folks I have here just to my left, some incredible developers here at Bungie. We'll go ahead and start with the gentleman here to my left.
Kurz mal Einwurf. Sorry, aber ist diese Pant irgendwie sein Main-Ding? Also ist das irgendwie seine Main-Color? Boah, ich hab grad voll gesprinkelt, Alter. Gethrustet. Naja, er hat die Pant letzte Woche schon angehabt und ich glaube irgendwie, das ist so sein Main-Style, so dieser Ahornholz. Ich weiß, es ist komplett egal, aber ich wollte halt mal sagen, weil für die Thumbnails, die ich machen will, habe ich mir gedacht, ich nehme immer irgendeinen Color, wenn ich quasi die Köpfe ausschneide und setze eine Farbe hinter die Person, habe ich mir gedacht, hey, nimmst du doch eine Farbe, die die Person irgendwie ausmacht. Und ich habe gedacht, hey, so dieses Ebenholz-Ding, dieses Borkenholz, egal, ich halt mein Maul.
Friend of the show, one and only Mr. Tom Farnsworth, Senior Design Lead here at Bungie. Tom, welcome back.
I'm back. I keep bringing me back.
I know, come on, you're the best. We couldn't possibly let you go.
No, of course, I'm the creative lead for Into the Light, but we're really here to talk about all the great work the team has done and these individuals here with us today. And we're going to talk about some exotic missions,
yes,
some rewards associated with them, and some PvP stuff. So let's dive in. Let's talk to everybody else here.
Great stuff. We also have, now sitting just next to Tom as well, we have Rob Adams, one of the art directors here at Bungie, and kind of the person to help come up with the concept of Into the Light. Rob, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you. We have a lot of fun stuff. We were talking before the show about a lot of cool stuff. We'll have plenty of fun details to dive into here in just a little bit. And of course, the one and only Willie Chang, activity designer here at Bungie. How you doing, Willie? Good morning.
I'm doing well.
For the folks at home that may not be familiar with you or your work, what do you do here at Bungie, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm an activity designer for Into the Light. I worked on the 0 Hour reprise.
Excellent. Well, with that, we may as well start diving into the show at hand. We have a lot of cool stuff to start with. In addition to, like we mentioned, some awesome reprised exotic missions, including the Whisper and 0 Hour, which will both feature, craftable versions of each weapon. But let's go ahead and start at the top with the Whisper. We've had a chance to go ahead and kind of pull back the curtain and look behind the scenes a little bit. Let's go ahead and start from the very top. Rob, you were there when it all started. Why did Bungie make the Whisper to begin with?
Well, I think in the first few months of D2, I want to say like the first 3 to 5 months, we felt like there weren't enough secrets in the game. It felt like the game was pretty well known, you know, and kind of like discovered. And it just needed some big secret to be found by the players. And we thought that that would excite our community quite a bit. Like it would just go over really well. We hoped it would at least.
Yeah.
And we had all this nostalgia for the Vault of Glass and Black Spindle. I mean, one day we were just sitting in a conference room and we're like, what if we just made another Black Spindle mission, but we made it a lot bigger?
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of, we've got here on screen kind of some, if we can call it as such,
Yeah.
original concept art, you'd say, for the Whisper?
Yeah, it's concept art.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Well, that's actually the very first whiteboard drawing when we got all excited and we ran and found a conference room.
Ich kapiere nicht, wie die daraus was irgendwie sehen können, Alter. Na gut, die haben sich das zwar gegeneinander erklärt, aber trotzdem.
And we started, drawing what this could do,
Yeah.
what we would want to build. And really, this kind of shows some of the magic formula. Like we had a contract, really, that we called it a contract, and this was an unspoken agreement between us as devs and the hardcore, super engaged players.
Yeah.
And it really was, if you can pass a test where your mind is going to be tested, your fighting, right?
Yeah.
Is going to be tested, and you're going to be able to pass these tests, right?
Yeah.
Your movement, your mind, your fighting.
Yeah.
If you can get past these tests, you're going to be rewarded with great power.
Yeah.
And that was the contract. And so one of the other things we did, and you can see it up here in the upper left,
Yeah.
is there's a little crack, and then the path continues.
Yeah.
And that, that's the red herring. And so we thought, well, rather than lead players by the nose and have a bunch of narrative and make it really obvious what you're supposed to do, what if they get into this mysterious place and they don't know what to do? And when they go down the path that they think is right, it's not.
Yeah.
And they go blazing right past the actual opening.
Yeah.
And so we knew we were pretty confident that was going to appeal to the hardcore players, because once they learned the path,
Right.
they could then bring their friends in and show them, and then we would have the videos,
Yeah.
with the walkthroughs, and it would just appeal to
As they let their friends go first that first time to watch them fall off the edge
yeah.
helplessly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, too, is, to kind of focus a little bit more on the art direction as well. I think, to put it lightly, the vibe in The Whisper is pretty intense. Can you tell us what it was like kind of imagining that space and bringing it to life?
Yeah, well, we wanted this like intense mystery vibe, right? The mystery of I'm on IO and I found this place that I've never seen, I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And where does it go, right? And that mystery, and also the feeling of dread.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so
a lot of that.
Ich will noch mal
yeah,
ganz-
and
sorry,
it's
Leute, das
easy
ist
to get a
schon wieder-
vibe.
Mal kurz unterbrechen, aber ich muss halt echt gucken, dass mein Bild hier nicht irgendwie. Das Problem ist halt, dass ich so auf der Art und Weise, wie ich das aufnehme, kann ich das jetzt gerade nicht in Fullscreen machen, sodass ich halt den Fullscreen checken könnte. Ich lasse mich mal jetzt hier unten ganz kurz. Ich meine, da dürfte man ja theoretisch einfach kein Problem haben, wenn ich da unten bin. Ich mache nochmal ganz ein bisschen kleiner. So, theoretisch, auch wenn jetzt Fullscreen ist, muss der eigentlich. Ich meine, ich bin unten beim Cursor, das dürfte echt kein Jucken jetzt mehr.
If you listen to one type of music, for example.
Right.
So we were watching Stranger Things and listening to the soundtrack, and I got really into building this traversal puzzle. It has a really consistent vibe because it was just one type of music that was listened to for the whole thing. Yeah.
Speaks to my Hotline Miami fan inside, honestly. Yeah. Also, too, is we've got another picture as well of the infamously titled Green Room as well. There was a really cool anecdote you had kind of about the development process of this. What was it like bringing this kind of very iconic, I guess I'd say, Destiny room to life?
Yeah, well, this is funny because there was this thing that we wanted to try, right? Make a room that has a trap in the center, that if you mess up, you end up going down the trap and you get punished for it. And when you get out, you end up back in the room. And it just happens again and again and again. And there's all these different ways that you try to find your way out of this room.
Right.
So the test was to make a tiny version of this, like 1/4 scale. And we brought it into the playtest lab. We had Cosmo and Dylan. We had a bunch of our testers and designers in there.
Yeah.
And I just waited, right? And I waited for someone to find the hidden shortcut, right? Like what's going to happen when they find that hidden shortcut?
Yeah.
And so the first person that found it, they just screamed and started laughing, and then everybody started finding it, and based on that reaction, we knew we had something good, and then it got scaled up into what you see here, and back to the vibe thing again.
Yeah.
When this got built, all I did was listen to Black Sabbath, the first 6 albums, like over and over.
Yeah.
So it just has that really, really consistent vibe all the way through, and that's just a trick that the whole team uses to get a theme or a vibe to be consistent.
We're going to go ahead also too and start jumping the activity so we can see this this vibe up close and personal as well. But here we are. We're back in the Whisper as well. Really quickly too, off the top, Willie, when it comes to bringing these encounters forward, bringing them to the modern era of Destiny, what were some of the bigger challenges that you'd say you have to overcome
Gut, jetzt
to
mal
make
ganz
sure
kurz
that they were
Stop
fitting
hier.
for today's
Oh
sandbox?
shit. Warte.
Yeah, so
Also, Alter, ja, ich weiß ja, ich meine, das kann sich jetzt jeder vorstellen, aber back in the day war ja Ammo-Management noch ein bisschen heftiger. Ich meine, heute hast du ja Infinite hier, Light Ammo, ne? Also Infinite, ich weiß schon, ihr wisst schon, die weißen Ammo-Packs hat man ja Infinite. Sicher, dicke Muni ist auch noch so, aber auf jeden Fall muss man das ja hundertprozentig abgescaled haben für die derzeitigen Power. Vor allem, wie ist denn das mit Strand? Du kannst doch locker easy mit Strand richtig rein traversen. Also ich denke mal, mit Strand wird The Whisper, die großen Abhänge werden bestimmt, wenn die da nicht noch irgendwas Neues reinmachen oder irgendwie, wird das wahrscheinlich quite easy. Weil einfach Sling über die Map, Cross-Sling und so. Oder vielleicht Sling, ein Buddy von dir slingt und du slingst dann an deinem Buddy und baust noch mehr Momentum auf und fliegst halt noch ein bisschen mehr. Who knows?
Box-wise, players nowadays pack a lot more power than they did before. People can clear entire rooms of ads from these activities back when they were in their original state.
Yeah.
Just like extremely quickly. So we had to beef up the number of combatants that are in these encounters, and later on I might talk more about additional tuning that I've done on them.
Totally, yeah, we can come back to that in a second. But I think also too, really quickly, back in the day, there was a very bespoke way of getting into the Whisper. You had to kind of hang out on IO, wait for this mysterious portal to come up. Yep. But we've made some changes to that as well. I think you were mentioning before we hopped on the air.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was a victim of it, right? We had the public event with the RNG, and you had to wait for the right one. And one time I tried to take a coworker through on a Saturday, and we spent like 7 hours just trying to get a few runs because of the public event. And,
right.
And that we just had to change that, right? And the team was excited about having a new, benefactor, a new character that you go and talk to. So you'll be talking to Eris Morn. Eris Morn's going to tell you some really cool stuff. I don't want to give it away.
Smart. Yeah.
But you're not going to have to deal with the frustrating trigger to get in anymore.
Excellent. Oh, that's always good to hear. Giving a chance, especially if people are going to come back in here multiple times as they kind of build up their craft.
Ich weiß nicht, ob das jetzt neu ist. Das mit diesem Vex. Mit dieser Vax-Box, keine Ahnung. Also ich kann mich nicht daran erinnern, dass man damals eine Vax-Box shooten musste. Und by the way, damals waren es auch nicht 33 oder wahrscheinlich 35 Minuten. Damals waren es halt einfach nur 20. Ne?
Craftable Exotics, obviously.
Ah, shit! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
Surprises are, you don't. Because they're
sorry, tut mir leid.
a new character that you go and talk to. So you'll be talking.
Oh, it's worth mentioning, especially if people are going to come back in here multiple times.
Sorry.
They kind of build up their craftable exotics. Obviously, a pretty key component. Also, too, is I think it's worth mentioning that this has undergone more changes than just the combat landscape.
Yeah.
For the veteran players who are coming in here, folks like myself that have maybe kind of had a lot of this committed to memory, how have you gone ahead and made sure that it's fresh for those veteran guardians out there?
Yeah. Well, the goal was, how is this going to be exactly what you just said, right? Like if I've played this 10, 15, 20 times, I've guided people through, maybe I've made a video about how to get through here. How's it going to speak to me, right? Like what's going to be cool for me to go in and do it again? And that was the goal that the team had. And when we knew we were going to do this, I made my own list, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, we're going to change this, we're going to move that, and I was really excited about it.
Yeah.
So Tom was in this meeting. So I show up, and there's like 15, 20 people, and they presented this whole plan, and I had my list all ready to go, and I was going to wait. I was going to listen to all the proposal and everything.
Bitte neue Wege oder so. Ich werde das, by the way, also ich glaube auch dieser, ich weiß nicht, dieser Fungus oder dieser Cosmic Stuff hier, dieser Glitter und so ein Stuff, das ist ja auch ziemlich neu. Also ich finde, dass das neu ist. Aber bitte neue Traversing Ways oder bitte vielleicht machen wir es noch länger oder vielleicht machen wir eine Hidden Mission in der Hidden Mission. Das glaube ich zwar nicht, dass das passiert, aber ich meine, echt, ich hoffe, dass die neue Wege, also ich weiß, die werden es ja gleich sagen, aber ich hoffe einfach, dass die neue Pathways und sowas, neue Passageways, neue Wege irgendwie, zu was traversen, einfach eingebaut haben.
And then start giving ideas and stuff. And when they finally finished presenting this plan for how to update this thing, I just deleted my list because it was like, it was way bigger and way cooler than anything that I'd come up with.
Yeah.
It's just so neat to see like a fresh take on it. So if you think you know where the chests are, if you think you know where all the secrets are,
das ist auch
if you
neu.
think you know where all the surprises are, you don't, because they're different. All those old guides and all the old walkthroughs, they're gonna have to be remade. Even though I'll just give one away. When you first get in, there's that first secret chest room on the right.
Right.
The anomaly has taken care of that. It's not there anymore.
Anomaly has taken care of it.
There's
So
more surprises.
to the Steam guide writers, to the game facts writers, to the folks making their YouTube videos, a revision 2 is going to be in order sometime soon.
Oh yeah.
By the sounds of it.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Also, too, are there any other changes that you guys are particularly excited about when it comes to the Whisper? We're going to move on to 0 Hour here in a little bit, but before we conclude our journey here, Willie, actually on your side, are there any changes in
Any Changes, vielleicht andere Portal-Entries.
particular that you're excited about?
Andere Boss-Enemies, obviously, wahrscheinlich auch mehr Tanky. By the way, falls ihr das damals noch nicht wusstet, also falls ihr Vets seid, Veterans, die damaligen Taken-Boss-Enemies waren, glaube ich, sogar aus Destiny 1. Also, das waren aus Destiny 1 normale, Kabal, Fallen und ich weiß gar nicht, was noch. Ich glaube, vielleicht dann halt wahrscheinlich noch ein Hive-Ritter oder sowas. Aber das waren halt hier die Taken-Versions. Genauso ähnlich wie bei, wenn ihr, wer ist denn das hier, in der Dreaming City, da gibt es doch so eine, ich glaube, Burgfried der geschliffenen Klingen, ne? Ich will mal ganz kurz gucken, übrigens, wie das jetzt hier wieder läuft mit OBS, ob ich noch geil zu sehen bin, ja. Okay, in Destiny 1 war ja noch hier, in Destiny 1 gab es ja mal so Ritter, ich ziehe das mal groß. Da gab es ja mal so 3 Scharritter auf dem Mond. Bevor man sich gegen Crota gestellt hat in Destiny 1, musste man so ein bisschen auf dem Mond rumquesten und so. Und da war so, da gab's so 3 Ritter. Ich weiß gar nicht mehr, wie die hießen. Auf jeden Fall hatten die alle einen distinkten Namen. Und im Burgfried der geschliffenen Klingen, hier in Destiny 2, in der Dreaming City, in dieser Ascendant Challenge, da ist, das sind die Taken-Versions von denen. Also ich finde halt immer noch geil, dass manche Leute sehen das vielleicht nicht, aber immer so diese Nods oder diese diversen Enemies sind nicht ganz sozusagen aus der History erased einfach nur. Warte mal ganz kurz checken. Okay, ich ziehe meine Hackfräse. Ein kleiner Rare. Und hier, noch ein Stückchen. Oh, und dann geht's weiter, Alter. Erstmal.
With this updated version?
I'm excited about the way that the boss fight has changed for this activity.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll leave that to folks to go ahead and discover on their own when it comes to the launch day of the Whisper. But yes, this is a first look for the folks out there who are looking to go ahead and make sure that they're ready on day one to go ahead and add another craftable exotic into their collection. Obviously, the Whisper is going to be there for you, but we don't want to spoil all of it. You'll have it in your hands soon enough. And also, some folks out there have already had a chance to play it, so we don't want to go ahead and uncover too many of the mysteries. Up next, we've also got, obviously, another iconic one, 0 Hour.
Yeah!
Let's start from the top. Can you explain, Rob, the concept behind Trevor? You've obviously got an homage to him on your...
I have my shirt, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about what this original concept was?
So Trevor was really inspired by this. There's this Japanese game show called Takeshi's Castle, and it's been around a while. And it's great because it has all these physical challenges and people getting knocked down or flipped over and stuff and trying to get through things and there's just a lot of comparisons to what we try to do in Destiny, and we've borrowed from that show and shows like it for a long time for cool ideas. And they have this one bit where the contestants try to get up this hill and there's this big fake boulder that comes down the hill, right? And there's these little side rooms, like little pockets that they can try to get into. And so we were like, man, if we had something like that in the middle of this mission, that would be amazing, right? And so we had this thing that we called, there it is.
Yeah, we got some concept art up on screen now.
So we had this thing that we called the hazard for a long time. The hazard is going to get you, right? And it's going to come down at you. And on the left, you can see the original whiteboard drawing of what this could look like. And there you see the hill with the slots.
Yeah.
We basically lifted off of Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah.
And then that evolved into what we eventually made as a maze, right? And then there's the very first drawing of Trevor. And on the right, you can see a concept art by one of our artists named Fan Gao.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at it, it had a bit of a vacuum cleaner look. It didn't quite nail the fear, which we might talk about in a second here.
Oh, yeah.
So then on the far right, you can see the centipede legs and the light and the final revision. That's pretty close to how Trevor ended up.
Yeah, it definitely it feels terrifyingly familiar in some ways, we'll say. And I, kind of while we're on the legs, which brings up honestly another great example I'd love to talk.
Aber ich finde eigentlich, shit, jetzt ist es schon vorbei, aber ich skippe nochmal zurück. Ich finde eigentlich, ich finde eigentlich das Ding hier irgendwie auch gar nicht so scheiße. Es hat für mich halt irgendwie das hat für mich auch irgendwie einfach so ein Japanese-Vibe. Halt irgendwie so Japanese, kriege ich sogar so ein bisschen Metal Gear-Vibes, wenn man das hier so reinzieht, hier so, ne? So ganz klein bisschen Metal Gear. Als hätte das Ding halt irgendwie so eine Art Microwave Killing. Und allgemein, theoretisch könntest du hier auch ein Face sehen, oder? Augen, Nase, Mund und so. Naja, anyway, ich mach mal weiter.
It feels terrifyingly familiar in some ways, we'll say. And I, kind of, well, we're on the legs,
Good job, Tom.
which brings up honestly another great example I'd love to touch on as well is, as a guardian myself, we've felled gods. We've fought some of the most difficult battles in the universe, whether it's against our fellow guardian or the many foes that set foot inside the solar system. When it comes to Trevor in particular, it elicits a very primal, sincere fear. How did you guys kind of elicit that from players who have obviously conquered so much?
Well, I think there's this like satisfaction from scaring people that's inherent in everybody. Like we've all scared somebody, I think, at some point. It's just super fun, right?
Yep.
So what could we do in Destiny to actually make people feel fear? And the team was super excited about how to try to tackle that problem. Because you're right? Like Guardians can just jump away and we kill everything and we're just gods.
Invisible and
God
dodge
killers.
away.
Yeah, exactly.
To do it, yeah.
So how do you scare our players in the game, right? So the first step was drop you in a maze.
Yeah.
There's something in there that you cannot kill. You can't jump up because the ceiling is just above your head, right?
Yeah.
So those were the first three things. This thing is faster than you.
Yeah.
So you're in there with something that you can't kill that can go faster than you. And then of course we did the centipede bottom, which I have this particular phobia of centipedes. Like
the fact that you took something that is such a fear and put it front and center, honestly, like it's commendable.
I watched this video like a week ago where this dude takes a giant centipede and lets it bite him on the arm.
Why would you do that to
I
yourself?
don't know. I almost passed out like watching this video. Centipedes terrify me. And so I thought the bottom of this thing just has to be sideways centipede legs that are made out of metal and they just grind you up when it catches you. Mm-hmm. And then the final piece of the formula for this thing really was to put a super bright light on it that would shine as a shadow caster across past your body so you can see your own shadow as you're trying to get away.
Yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of it was inspired by the anxiety that I feel, and I think folks on the team also felt when we talked about like the trope of a subway that's coming around the corner.
Right.
Right.
You see that finite just clock running out in front
coming.
of you.
Yep, you see the light coming and then you see the thing.
Yeah.
And so that really helped us figure out how to make this thing as freaky as
this
possible.
Time, no Indiana Jones laying down on the tracks hoping for the best here.
Yeah, no.
Not a chance, no. Trevor's going to chew you up, honestly. So also, we found ourselves now, we're in the beginning stages here of the Whisper we can see on screen. Willie, we kind of touched on this briefly over the course of the Whisper, but can you tell us a little bit about what it was like sort of reinventing these combat spaces and these encounters for Guardians in a modern sandbox, especially those that are going to have the Brave arsenal available to them?
Yeah, so just now you saw a brig in this encounter, which there wasn't one before. I think there's the desire to keep the soul of the activity, which is that, there's time pressure on me to finish this activity quickly, and also I'm going up against powerful enemies that are trying to stop me from doing that.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure that the combat still felt challenging, even in today's sandbox, so we added some new combatants with the brig. And we also just increased the number of combatants, period, so that players had more to do with their more.
Ja, ich sag jetzt mal gleich hier, so wie die hier durchbreezen, das war damals auf jeden Fall definitely nicht so. Damals hattest du nur 20 Minutes. Und halt Stasis meldet sich hier komplett alles auseinander. Also, ich weiß nicht, ob die wirklich so. Also, zum Beispiel, wenn die jetzt hier schon 40 Minuten machen, das Doppelte. Ich würde sagen, eigentlich würde es justifieren, dass die einen längeren Path machen, einen längeren Weg. Dass der Bossfight nicht mehr wie damals ist, auf derselben Höhe. Ich muss noch mal gucken, wo meine Visage ist. Oh, wo ist meine Fresse? Ja. Guck mal, die rösten hier komplett alles auseinander. Ne, mit, Stasis und so. Ich finde das halt einfach way too OP einfach nur. Und das ist halt, auf jeden Fall back in the day musst du es halt auch managen. Okay, Shield Damage, halt passende Shield Damage, natürlich passende Weapons, sowas wie Recluse war damals sehr gut. Ich glaube, die ist ja eine leere SMG, ne? Ja, ist es nicht so? Ich weiß nicht, ey. Ich weiß nicht, ob die das wirklich so adaptable machen. Vielleicht machen sie es ja im Endeffekt sogar, also vielleicht machen sie wieder so different Modes, halt so Hard Mode und so ein Scheiß, Master und so. Aber halt 40 Min, wenn das dann wirklich derselbe Campaign-Path ist, weißt du? Und dann hier nur eine Brick, du hast ja gesehen, die hält die kaum auf. Damals musstest du ungefähr ab einem bestimmten, hast du dir so gesagt, okay, warte mal, ab dem und dem Zeitpunkt muss ich dann in der Location sein. Okay, fucking, jetzt habe ich nur noch die und die Minuten. Dann wurde vielleicht ein neuer Shortcut gefunden oder sowas. Noch checken, ob die Aufnahme überhaupt noch läuft. Ja, ich bin mir nicht ganz sicher. Wir werden es zwar sehen, oder beziehungsweise, naja, keine Ahnung. Jetzt vielleicht noch nicht. Ich bin hier ziemlich skeptisch, Alter, ob das nicht ein bisschen zu easy gerade ist mit Strand und Stasis. Oder ob die dann irgendwelche Modifikatoren einführen müssen, damit dann halt es nicht so easy wird. Sieht auf jeden Fall sehr easy aus bis jetzt.
More diverse and deadly tools.
Yeah. Guardians have plenty of those available to them. When you were developing these combat spaces as well, were there any moments where you really thought to yourself, like, all right, this is it. Like, we've really centered in on what was great about this mission originally, but this is going to be appropriately challenging for today's Guardians?
Yeah, I think when we play tested it and you know, we had everybody load up with their like new maneuverability tools, their swords, their grapples, to go through the activity, and then we were expecting that like, oh, people are going to breeze through this like it's nothing, like the original 20-minute timer has to become something else. But really, all of that translated over pretty well. Like the individual sections are self-contained enough that like you can't bypass too many things by just using one new tool.
Sure.
The whole thing sort of still felt like 0 hour, even with your new toolbox.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Even with, we're gonna go ahead and jump forward here a little bit as well, using our dev tools to take a look at Trevor as well. So for the folks out there that want to reinstill that fear in themselves, now's a brief chance to check it out. Also, too, is we're in a world where, you know, there's strand grapples, there's shatter skating. When it came to kind of redesigning these activities, or even making, I guess, alterations more appropriately on these activities, you know, with one like Trevor, for example, what was the challenge that you kind of had to overcome with those new movement tools in addition to the combat tools that players have available to them?
Yeah, I guess philosophically, I want to make sure that if people were speccing into being highly maneuverable, then I honor that choice and say, yeah, you're highly maneuverable. Like maybe you're in this hallway with Trevor. I don't want to be ground up by these centipede legs, so I'm going to sword skate through this so that I can have a little bit of speed on Trevor. But like, you know, you still can't invalidate the challenge entirely. Trevor will still kill you if you mistime those. So they're just like different expressions of how you want to tackle these challenges, and none of those expressions like fully throw these challenges out the window.
Yeah, actually, something too that I'm seeing pop up in chat here is the mention of the timer. So for starters, there's also, this is normal difficulty, there's also a legend, isn't that right? Yeah, Tom, can you tell us a little bit about like any updates to the timers in these missions as well?
So, and Willie, feel free to hop and correct me if I'm wrong, but on normal, it's 40 minutes because we want to give players a little bit extra time, especially if you're new. We want this to be accessible. Everyone to get in there and get the experience. But a lot of our kind of like quests, content, and secrets are in the legend version, which has a 20-minute timer.
Genau.
Yes.
Dachte ich mir.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you, chat. In addition to, you know, these other updates you've made, are there anything or any changes you've made in particular that you're excited about, that you're comfortable talking about it here, or is it just you want players to dive in and find out for themselves?
Yeah, so the whole secrets setup for 0 hour is different. So, you know, previously we had key cards. Those have been replaced by another secret system that you'll just have to find out more about for yourself.
Excellent.
And, you know, I'm also proud of the boss fight in this.
That's right. Yeah, we'll hold that one close to the vest. Players will have a chance to see that on their own and see Willie's hard work in person very soon. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show as well, there's going to be craftable versions of these exotics, and we're going to check them out. But there was one more example that I wanted to ask you about, Rob, in particular. There was some discussion briefly about the acronym that is Trevor. Could you tell us what that stands for?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but I had to open my phone because it's like impossible to remember that.
We all have our notes. Yeah, it's part of the game.
So early on, the team we just realized we had to figure out an acronym for this because we loved the name Trevor because it was paradoxical. I went to school with a kid named Trevor who was the nicest kid in the entire school, just nice to everybody to a fault, right? So I always thought like Trevor is just the nicest name, and so paradoxically, here's this evil thing named Trevor, and we thought it was hilarious. But once we alphanumericized, is that a word?
Yeah.
Once we made that, we had to come up with the acronyms. So the one that I had was Tracking Robotic 3-Vector.
Ich weiß nicht, wollen wir nochmal ganz kurz wegen der Aufnahme checken? Ja, also ich finde jetzt nicht Trevor der nicest Name oder sowas. Ich finde irgendwie so was mir Niceness verkaufen würde, irgendwie wie so James oder Simon. Also so ein Kitty, ich bin so ein Kitty-Player. So. Aber halt irgendwie James oder sowas, oder halt, sagen wir mal so, Peabody. Das wäre halt irgendwie so ein, ich bin der Housekeeper. Während die Adligen außer Haus sind, dann bin ich der Housekeeper. Ich halte das Haus clean. Sozusagen wieder, als wäre es so eine Unit oder eine Person, die, ja, halt auch drauf aufpasst, wenn Mom und Dad nicht da sind. So die Adligen halt, so ungefähr. Also ich finde Trevor, das klingt für mich eher so wie so, irgendwie, ich weiß nicht, ob ich jetzt zu sehr an GTA erinnert werde, aber naja, für mich klingt das halt irgendwie wie so ein bisschen so das Rough Kid, so ein bisschen. Ich weiß, das ist jetzt so ein kompletter dummer Input hier, aber yeah, weiter geht's, man.
Reducer. Because it reduces,
Nochmal?
right, Tom? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Once we made that, we had to come up with the acronym. So the one that I had was Tracking Robotic 3-Vectored Reducer. Because it reduces, right, Tom? It's like it reduces you, yeah.
Right, Tommy?
But that was our internal acronym.
Yeah.
And so when we went to GuardianCon and we did like a fly-through or like a walkthrough.
Yeah.
What?
And so the community team, thought that we should let the fans of GuardianCon decide what the actual acronym for Trevor was. And so we had like the 5 different examples, and my tracking robotic was in there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
As one of the things, I was like, please pick mine, please pick mine.
Yeah.
And so at the end, what they decided on, and they decided by loud applause, and it was like very obvious that this is what they wanted.
The committee had
Oh yeah,
spoken.
it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
What they decided on was tame, relaxed, triple vac roommate. So that's the official name for Trevor.
That's it. It's
The
codified.
acronym. Yeah.
Nah.
Thank you very much to the denizens of GCX. Thank you very much for your hard work and letting us know exactly what
Yeah.
Trevor should be
Also,
called. That's
wenn man es mal
really cool.
so labert, Leute wie Zero TV und allgemein die Deutschen, die eingeladen wurden zu GuardianCon 2018. Ich erinnere mich nämlich noch an zum Beispiel sowas wie Zero TV mit einem neuen Video zu Destiny. Als die gesagt haben, dass der neue Gambit-Mode, ich glaube, über den die noch ziemlich disclosed waren damals, wo sie noch nichts sagen durften, halt alles sprengen würde oder voll geil ist und ein Hybrid-Mode und neu. Also haben die das dann ja auch schon early gezockt anscheinend. Ja. Aber ich wäre irgendwie wahrscheinlich eher gegangen nach erst das Wort finden und danach das Acronym machen. Und nicht erst ein Acronym. Ich weiß, wenn man ein Acronym macht, hält man sich gleich danach fest. Also dann bewegt man sich innerhalb diesem Space dieser Buchstaben, was natürlich die Wortfindung nochmal eingrenzt. Aber naja. Ja, okay, gut. Also das Tame, Relaxed, 3-Vector Roommate oder sowas, ne?
Well, I wish I'd been there for that. Okay, now we're taking a quick look at the craftable exotics as well. We're going to go ahead and start with Whisper of the Worm. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about what players who are kind of going to go ahead and facilitate their own play style or want to build a Whisper all to their own? What are they going to have to look forward to with all this?
Yeah, even before we get into the crafting, like I've got my notes here from Chris Proctor, so
You're the
I'm
man
ready to
himself.
go. Yeah, he's
Right.
sitting on my shoulder, helping me out here. And we wanted to retain the fantasy of both these weapons, of both of Whisper and of Outbreak. And Whisper, it's a hard-hitting precision weapon where you're in the backfield. Like, if you land your crits, you're rewarded, and you can sustain a ton of damage on a boss or enemies with a large critical area.
Ogres will be felled.
Ogres would be felled. The servitors.
Don't stand a chance. Yeah.
Ist das überhaupt
And then
eine
with
Glaube?
Outbreak, the fantasy is all about spreading the plague of Siva nanites.
Certainly.
And we'll be able to get to that in a minute. But
I think we're looking at Whisper right now.
yeah, so specifically with Whisper and Outbreak, for both of them, with both these crafted weapons, they'll both have a craftable barrel, magazine, traits, and stock options. The barrel and magazine options will let you really push the stats around. So you'll be able to have a max stability Whisper if you want.
Yeah.
Which was
shit.
really advantageous for a weapon that's about this hitting repeated critical hits.
Certainly.
In an area. And then specifically for the perks on Whisper, and both the perks on Whisper and Outbreak are things that by engaging in our secrets week over week, and both of these exotic missions, you'll be able to unlock them. And for Whisper, it starts off with Mulligan, which is the classic perk where if you miss your shots, they get refunded. But if you upgrade it, you can get Field Prep, which will give you more shots, which equals more damage.
Yeah.
And then there's No Distractions, which will allow you to keep under fire, hold your aim on your target better. And there's also Enlightened Action, which is for more forgiving reloads. So there's, I think, a lot of options for players of different play styles and different skill levels there.
Yeah.
And then just the kind of the cherry on top there with Whisper is that it's getting a
Andy's Reactions immer so, perfect. Yeah, totally. Ich weiß, ihr wisst wahrscheinlich noch aus dem ersten Stream, dieser Noah, als er gesagt hat, yeah, alright, yeah, great. Und halt auf jeden Fall Andy immer so, perfect, absolutely, oh, Good. Awesome. Right. Best choice. Ich weiß, er muss zwar, wie gesagt, den Stream durchhosten, aber Leute, diese Unreal. Ich muss übrigens, by the way, dauernd checken, ob meine Visage nicht irgendwo im Weg ist, ne? Ja, meine Visage war die ganze Zeit im Weg. Geil. Ziehen wir es wieder hier runter. Dürfte jetzt keinen mehr auf den Sack gehen. Bullstream. Los geht's.
Reserves bump. So it's going to go from 18 in reserve to 24 in reserve. So you're going to have a ton of ammo to just like make it a sustained damage monster, which is super exciting.
So ultra precise players like myself who never miss a shot will have even more. Why are you guys laughing? Why is that funny? No, that's really exciting. We also we have Whisper the Worm in addition to Outbreak Perfected now joining the pool of craftable exotic weapons. Let's take a quick look at Outbreak as well while we're here hanging out in the Enclave. Tom, kind of, second verse, same as the first, same question. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the perks and updates that players will have available to them with their options to craft Outbreak Perfected?
Yep, and so in addition to barrels and mags, it has its classic Outlaw perk is back. So you get your fast reloads on final blows, which works really well with Outbreak. It's all about also landing precision hits to either spawn nanites or to kill enemies and spawn nanites and spread that SIVA energy around.
Spread the plague.
Spread the plague. And then the second one, though, that we're added here is Rapid Hit, which plays right into that. So like you land your precision shots, you get more stability, you get faster reloads. Then another new one is Rewind.
Sorry für die schon wieder erneute Unterbrechung, aber ihr seht das ja nicht, ne? Meine Face. Oh, ja gut, ihr habt es vielleicht doch gesehen, aber hier. Ich weiß, es ist wahrscheinlich komplett nichts sagen, aber hier. 17.05. Aha. Why? Warum dieses Datum? Einfach random, oder was? Ja. Let's not go, because mein Face ist noch immer zu hart im Weg. Ein Stück kleiner machen, wieder in die obere Ecke schieben. Ja. Beautiful, beautiful, yes. Of course. Ach, egal. Los geht's.
Rewind rounds. It's hard for me to say.
Fast, yeah.
Try it out.
Yeah.
Which refills your reserves from to minimize your reload. So like if you're hitting shots, you're just going to keep getting more ammo, which is really like kind of interesting.
Perpetual motion machine? No, perpetual death machine.
So yeah, it's like do you want the reloads, or you just want to keep shooting?
Yeah.
And then there's also a head seeker, which I think maybe for PvP or for certain play styles where like you're less focused on your critical shots. That's something to think about as well.
Right.
In terms of catalysts, if you already have them, you're golden. You can craft those. If you don't, play the legend version of Whisper and 0 Hour, and you'll have a chance to get them.
Very cool.
So that's still in there.
Yeah.
And then, as I mentioned, for unlocking these new intrinsic perks that you can slot in, there'll be like a 3-week mini quest line that rolls into the secrets for each of these. And Whisper is coming at launch with Into the Light.
Exciting.
And 0 Hour is coming in May.
Perfect. Okay. So be a chance to go ahead and sink your teeth into 0 Hour for a while before you go ahead and change your attention and start unlocking another one of the storied exotics of old. Also, it's worth mentioning that
das 17.05. ja vielleicht doch was zu tun, weil da stand ja crafted 17.05. Das heißt, vielleicht 17.05. ist das Release-Date. Und theoretisch könnte man ja mal ganz kurz reinglotzen. 17.05. Das ist ein Mai. Genau, 17. ist ein Freitag. Würde auch Sinn machen irgendwie. Würde Sinn machen, natürlich. Meine Theorie macht mal wieder Sinn. Genial. Naja, gleich so eine Weekend einladende Mission. Okay, weiter geht's mit dem Stream.
That there are more than just the craftable weapons available as rewards in these missions. There's some tried and true ships. Now, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but as someone who still to this day wears 1,000 wings.
You and me?
Yeah, like we know the feeling of getting that ship and finally having that I was there moment. The ships are making a return as well, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so for both Whisper and for 0 Hour, they're coming back. Is it the exact same ship, or are there going to be changes on them?
No, these are actually new assets, right? They're new ships, so they won't be the same. They won't sit in the same spot in your inventory, and they are updated to look really cool and new. And I think they're exciting, especially we took the old scrap drifter ship that was, I think. Not really loved particularly by the community because it was literally scrapped together from spare parts to get built, and so we did a really nice pass on that. So it's inspired by the look of Outbreak Perfected, and I think it looks great. I think the community is going to love it.
Yeah.
And then we have the Whisper ship, 1,000 Wings. It's got a new design, so you'll still have your old 1,000 Wings, and if you have that equipped, players are going to know that you're OG and that you got it back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And the new one is going to look like the new one, so there won't be any mistaking the old one for the new one.
Very cool. Excellent. So for the players who want to go ahead and continue to build up their
So cool,
collections,
man.
there's a chance to go ahead and dive back in.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't there originally, but they want to go ahead and join the Thousand Wings Club to a degree.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So there'll be a chance to go ahead and unlock those as well. Excellent. Well, I think we are actually about at the point of the show we're going to go ahead and get ready to rotate over to the PvP map pack. But for starters, let's go ahead and make sure we thank our incredible team of playtesters here, going ahead and showing off the missions for us. Ashley, Peyton, and Michael, thank you all so much. Very much. There we go. We're getting some waves from the backstage. Thank you all so much for the time. And of course, Willie, I think this is unfortunately the time now we bid you adieu to go ahead and transition into the PvP
Thanks
map.
for having
See
me.
you soon.
Awesome. Willie, thank you so much. All right, we are now joined by another member of the Bungie development team, a staff artist here who has helped made many of the PvP maps that you've also known and loved, the one and only Mr. Cooley Callahan. Cooley, welcome to the show, man.
How's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for having me
Absolutely. It's been so long.
here. Yeah, it has. It's been a minute.
Look at us, right? Who would've thought? Yeah.
That's full circle.
Yeah. Now, we were talking a little bit before the show about Cooley. I'm going to go ahead and do us all a favor and put Cooley on the spot to a degree. Rob, we were talking a bit about Cooley's history.
We were.
Can you tell us a little bit about the man sitting just to your left, the contributions he's made to the PvP Pantheon?
Yeah, well, one of the things that was really important for us was to make sure that the strike team was stacked, that we had the best designers on the strike team. And so Cooley is certainly one of those. He's a 6-year veteran of the PvP team who shipped over 11 maps.
Yeah.
A lot of them are fan favorites, and I'm not going to steal any more of Cooley's thunder. I'll just let him talk about some of that.
Yeah, it's not everyone's a banger. I mean, there's definitely some maps that people would want some words with me. But I
We'll
think,
save that for later. But what are some of the
just
bangers?
come find me. It's I think Burning Shrine, which is now Burnout. It's such a classic map. It's a Trials favorite. And then Midtown is another map that turned out really well. We built that for Countdown, but I was just chatting with another Destiny fan at the dog park the other day, talking about how well that map supports all of the different engagement ranges, which is definitely something that we try to do. We try to create places for players to use their favorite tools.
Yeah. Now with the maps, we're going to be looking at 3 of them today with kind of a primary focus on, you were mentioning earlier, I think it was the 3v3 kind of competitive side of things was sort of the focus for these maps.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think early on, a lot of the direction that we got was we wanted to bolster that competitive gameplay experience with new maps, tweaks to the modifiers of some of the modes. And so we, in our play testing, really focused on the competitive playlist and really centered and put those experiences at the forefront. And then, all Destiny maps, can suit a variety of modes. So we also made sure they worked elsewhere. But for the most part, we really did want to provide new experiences and just breathe a little bit of new life into the higher, maybe a little bit sweatier gameplay.
So weird how you were staring directly at me when you said sweaty, but that's fine. We'll let it go for now. Actually, briefly too on that topic before we kind of go into the guided tour of these maps. Having had so much time to sort of be a part of building the tapestry that so much of our PvP happens on, what were some of the key lessons that you've kind of taken away from having built those maps and seen them go through everything from trials to quick play and bringing forward those lessons into these maps?
Yeah, I think...
Frage. So, mal ganz kurze Frage. Und da muss ich gleich mal wieder checken, wo mein Face so platziert ist. Weil ich sehe es ja, wie gesagt, nicht. Entschuldige, Alter. Excuse me. Morty, der Morty. Ja, auf jeden Fall. Okay, erstmal. Hi. Also, Frage jetzt hier an der Stelle. Theoretisch könnte man jetzt mal auf ArtStation nachsehen, ob der Typ einen ArtStation-Account hat, weil dann könnte man mal sehen, ob er halt auch eigenes Artwork entworfen hat, weil ich meine, wie gesagt, eine Map musst du ja definitiv nach dem Artwork designen, nachdem ein Artwork-Creator es gemacht hat. Ich weiß gar nicht, wie er heißt. Es ist nicht Dorjibelbrock. Aber es gibt halt diverse Typen, die halt wirklich so The Nine Realms entworfen haben. Da gab es ja auch mal hier diese eine The Nine Map, ich weiß nicht mehr, wie sie hieß. Irgendwie Eclipse oder Equinox, genau, Equinox. Das war auch eine neue Map. Ja, also wäre halt cool. Ich meine halt nur so, einfach mal rauszufinden, ob er jetzt einen ArtStation-Account hat und dann, ob er dann halt auch eigene Map, quasi ob er eigene Map-Elements drawt oder ob er eigenen Concepts. Und by the way, da können wir ja nachher auch nochmal gleich reingehen. checkt euch auf ArtStation mal das Artwork zu Root of Nightmares rein. Leute, Alter, ihr liebt diese Scheiße. Oder zu Rogue. Da ist so viel Thought reingeflossen in Rogue und allgemein in den gesamten Raid-Space. Leute, zieht euch das mal rein. Das ist übelst geil. Da ist so viel Elements zwar nicht verwendet worden, aber... Und da gibt es einen Artist, der ist sogar aus Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Alter, eigentlich voll geil. Wenn ihr auch mal Wonderlands gezockt habt, das ist auch voll geil, weil die verschiedenen Welten in Wonderlands sind auch ziemlich cool. Also halt das gesamte Artwork-Design, das World-Design. Egal, anyway, ich höre auf zu labern. Ich scratch mich wieder hoch in die Ecke, Digga. Ab in den Corner. Warte mal. Yeah. Bisschen zu fett und so, bisschen kleiner. Yeah. Und weiter geht's. Rein in die Ecke. Rein. Oh, shit.
One thing that is always at the forefront of our minds is, trying to strike that balance between, providing the playground for players to express themselves and express their guardian and their play style. So a lot of verticality, a lot of movement, and then balancing that with making sure players understand where they're getting shot from, and creating a satisfying PvP engagement that doesn't leave players, cursing the map or, feeling like they don't understand why they died. So we want to make sure that players have, we want to provide a choice for players that's, always available to them to riff and to work with their team to, use the map to their advantage. So it's a balancing like a complex gameplay space that allows a lot of movement and freedom without, opening it up so much that you're not understanding, like, geez, I can get shot from so many different places.
Certainly.
So we really, it's a little bit of back and forth. We'll open it up, we'll try some things. Especially this time around, we tried some stuff and got into the weeds a little bit. But I think that's all part of the discovery process of finding the gameplay that we want to create. And so we go a little further, maybe too far in the openness and Swiss cheese, and then we bring it back and make it a little bit more focused and really dial in the engagements that we want.
That's awesome. I mean, speaking of getting in the weeds, there's no time like the present. Shall we go ahead and dive on in?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Cool. Diving on in. All right, we got the first of 3 maps to go ahead and show off. This is the we have one on Europa, one on Neomuna, and then one on one of the pyramid ships in Essence, I believe. Is that the location? So this is the first one. This is here on Europa. Cooley, can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here today, or where we are?
Yes. So this map is called Eventide Labs, and this is a long-forgotten human colony research outpost on Europa.
Das sieht aber geil aus.
And it just so happens that Aramis has chosen this location as a refueling station for her catch. So here you'll see, perched just above the horizon is her catch in the skybox with, it's getting hooked up, and we have a servitor over here that's hooked up to the catch to provide that ether that the elixirs need. And so we really wanted to situate the maps in the universe and draw on that deep Destiny lore.
Is there in camp
But yeah,
mode?
we definitely have a presence of Fallen here, set amongst the abandoned human, ice-encrusted structures of the past, which has been a really fun environment to work on. We definitely want to bring in as many new palettes as possible because there's so much great environment art content.
Wait.
The palettes are really cool.
Ey Leute, Alter, das Pyramid Ship, eine PvP-Map auf dem Pyramid Ship. Leute, die ganzen Karten, er hat gesagt Pallets, ne? Die ganzen, oh mein Gott, ich muss mich größer ziehen, Alter. Ihr müsst ja meine Reaktion sehen, oh mein Gott, die ist voll wichtig. Okay, weiter geht's. Nee, ich meine, in dem Pyramid Ship, ihr wisst ja, ihr kennt ja die gesamten Colors, ne? Die gesamten Farben, dieses gesamte Violet und dieser, ich sag mal, creamy, also dieses creamy White und dieses fast schon Perlmuttblau ins langsam so pink übergehende und dann halt auch diese gesamte Farbabstufung von Weiß, dann halt auf die verschiedenen, in die gesamten Chrome, in diese gesamten Chroma-Space, ne? Ich freue mich echt schon auf Essence, Alter. Ja. Und auch der Shit sieht muy bien, Alter. Nice. Yum. Echt, ja. Ja, okay. Aus, ne? Okay, dann gehen wir weiter und machen mal. Ich mache mich mal jetzt hier runter. Let's go.
We want to use those in PvP wherever we can, just to, the different palettes have different character that leads to different gameplay spaces.
Also, when it comes to kind of finding these maps of place in the world, Rob, having kind of looking at through an artistic lens, what were some of the challenges or even kind of exciting opportunities potentially of finding, new places for these maps to live in the more modern era of Destiny that we've been experiencing more recently?
Well, we really wanted to make sure that when we do an update like this, it's a major refresh to the map rotator, right? Like we're adding quite a bit of variety here. We wanted to make sure that we had 3 distinctly different places and places that players haven't seen a bunch of times.
Mann, das
So
muss
fortunately,
so
we
geil
had
sein,
these,
das erste Mal auf dem Ding
available
drauf.
to
Ja,
us.
ich hab richtig Bock drauf, ey.
I'm looking at it again now. I mean, I'm not getting sick of looking at this. The team does such a good job.
It's gorgeous. One of the cool things is just how purposeful everything feels in the world.
Yeah.
Our team always pushes it so far where it really feels like you're walking into a truly recently defunct, human colony or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and the frozen world of Europa, I mean, they all have their advantages for PvP, but the frozen ice walls of Europa are just perfect for multiplayer, and I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about this a bunch.
Yeah, actually, also too, Cooley, if you wouldn't mind, as people who have heard me talk too much about Destiny PvP would know, Dead Man's Tale and I get along a lot. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about some of the sightlines or opportunities that I'll have to maybe rack up some additional kills as I dive into this map the first time?
Totally. If long range is your thing, this spot out here is definitely the place for you. There's one spawn that happens for one team over by C and then one over by A, and so in these competitive modes, if you've got an objective out here, this sightline is really important to lock down. So this is a spot where you're going to have 2 teams poking and peeking each other, and then rushing over here to try to get to this zone and lock it down. And if you're rolling with that long range kit, you can hang back and sort of lock down this airspace here so that you can provide cover and maybe support your team from being...
Sorry, dass ich schon wieder unterbreche, aber Leute, Mann, ich habe echt Bock, Alter. Ja, ich habe echt Bock, einfach mal reinzulatschen, auch wenn ich jetzt nicht zwangsläufig PvP gerade zocke. Also ich meine, wenn der Vibe da ist. Aber ich habe jetzt richtig Bock, einfach mal da rumzulatschen, Alter. Oh, ich weiß jetzt nicht, die haben ja gesagt, die Weapons kommen am 30. raus, ne, am 30.04. anstelle am 9. Aber, zu Cam hin, aber, ja, die PvP-Maps dann wahrscheinlich doch am 9. gleich. Alter, es macht doch jetzt schon Spaß zuzusehen, irgendwie. Ja, dude, ja. Okay, weiter hoch wieder, yeah. Und los, yeah.
harassed down on this point.
Wow.
And then
Fantastic.
we also have sort of this the sightline in the middle, which will be pretty fun. It's definitely going to be a race to for each player or each team to kind of get to this spot and lock down this sort of portal here to ensure that you can push into this space and kind of control the middle. But as you can see, there's lots of ways for players to come in and flank. So if you're holding this space, you'll really not want to be here for too long unless you've got the support to do it.
Yeah. Make sure you throw those grenades right off of the rip, basically, when you're coming out of spawn to try and conquer that territory as best you can.
Yeah, one of the things I love about these ice caves is, it provides a lot of opportunity for grenades, like trip mines, and to bounce things off of the back of the walls, and the shapes here are just really fun to play with.
All right, so this is one of 3 maps. Let's go ahead and...
So Strand-technisch. Ich glaube, wenn du hier mit Strand reingehst, aber ich würde jetzt nicht wirklich mit Strand in PvP, also ich meine, ja, es fühlt sich ein bisschen OP an in PvP, auch wenn ich das jetzt nicht wirklich gezockt habe. Ich meine, ich habe vor ein paar Tagen mal reingecheckt. Ich habe vor 1 Jahr und 3 Monaten aktiv Destiny gezockt, glaube ich. Oder vor 1 Jahr und 3 Wochen oder so. Trotzdem halt Strands. Da könntest du dich ja easy von A und... Oh, hier machen wir mal wieder den da, mal wieder den da. Da könntest du dich ja easy von A nach C, von A wieder in die Mitte reinslingen. Je nachdem, wie das dann mit deinen Mods wirkt und so ein Scheiß, je nachdem, wie das dann mit Grenades wirkt. Also ich denke mal so, keine Ahnung, ja, whatever. Egal, ich höre auf zu labern. Weiter geht's.
Prepare to go ahead and move on to the next one here really quickly. We've got, coming up next, Neomuna as well. So finding a place, on Neomuna, obviously, that makes sense for PvP probably seems pretty natural, honestly, given just like how rich and vibrant and exciting of a place it is. What was it like, even starting from an artistic standpoint on this map, Rob?
This was a really exciting map for the team. It's a shopping/entertainment center for the Exos on Neomuna. And So there's a lot of really fun decoration, and the spaces have a lot of character to them. There's a lot of recognizable things, human.
Letztes Ding nochmal, sorry, ich will nochmal unterbrechen, ob das nicht im Weg ist, ob ich gerade nicht im Weg bin. Ne, ich bin nicht im Weg, aber ich mache mich trotzdem kleiner. So.
Scale things that, look relatable, and we don't always get that in all of our palettes, and so this is also an opportunity for us to have a really clean architectural map that has a lot of crisp edges and very flat floors. So all of definitely the more competitive players and the more PvP diehards, they really take to this map, and it's an instant hit. People are, just right away pleased with, how readable the map is. It's one of those maps that you play a couple times and you get it. Like, you understand that it's all about this center atrium room that is really open and kind of, has this big pit in the middle, and then there's this area down here, which is where a lot of objectives spawn, and there's some special ammo down here. But then there's also this place over here where the heavy ammo spawns, and players will oftentimes just pop up here to do a quick check and maybe like try to get a cheeky kill on somebody who's maybe running from cover to cover, but you can't hang out here for very long because you've got so many different angles at which you can get shot from. But that's kind of like that balance of what I was talking about before. Like, we want to provide that, but we want to make sure that it's not too powerful, or it's a risk reward, right? You're making a trade-off, and the players who are using the map well and who understand the map will be able to use it to their advantage.
Yeah, actually also too, to kind of focus on the readability, I remember overhearing some discussions with you designers talking about the clean zone in PvP. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how it kind of helped inform the design of this map?
Yeah, definitely. I think the clean zone is something that a lot of developers really use to sort of create this space for the player to pop, right? To like really stand out from the environment. And so for us, it's about where the player's head height is. And this map is, just one of the examples of how it can really provide for a good PvP experience, to have this sort of mark on the wall where you can kind of expect players to reside in.
Yeah. Till they jump around and strands suspend you in the air, and you're just left there cursing the heavens for a little while. Yeah. Maybe I'm speaking on my own behalf. This is looking fantastic. Yeah, this is, I will say, one of the maps that, having done a little bit of playtesting myself, I still have to give you credit for perhaps one of the most diabolical heavy weapons.
Ich finde es jetzt nicht so geil. Also ich finde halt natürlich allgemein so Neomuna-Shit ist so ein bisschen so Content Asset Implementation. Also halt, ich finde halt zum Beispiel hier sowas, ich müsste das alles besser erklären, aber ich hoffe, ihr versteht das jetzt schon mal so, wie ich das jetzt sage. Ich finde so, es gibt hier so ein bisschen Sachen, die nicht wirklich so miteinander so gerade passen oder so klicken. Auch dieses Ding hier, es sieht ein bisschen, es ist zwar ein neues Asset, aber es sieht jetzt nicht so clean und so überlegt aus. Und wenn man sich überlegt, dass halt der meiste Stuff hier oder halt einiges davon halt auch, wie gesagt, Assets sind aus, ja, halt der Deep Stone Crypt und sowas, naja, das finde ich halt dann wieder, ich weiß zwar, das hat dann wieder auch Relation zu Neomuna, aber naja, ich fand das halt immer schon nicht so gut. Ja, so diese Elemente von Deep Stone Crypt quasi oder halt von Braytech Exoscience quasi hier auf Neomuna irgendwo reinzuhauen, das fand ich halt noch nie geil. Ja.
Spawns, or heavy ammo spawns, rather, I should see, in any PvP map. Like, the sheer amount of risk.
Es erinnert mich ein bisschen an irgendwie so Reach auf jeden Fall, Halo Reach, also halt so ein bisschen. In Halo Reach gab es ja auch so, ich glaube, da gab es auch so eine Mall oder sowas, ja, da gab es auch, in den Campaign Missions gab es ja auch eine Mall und so ein Stuff, und naja, ich glaube, hätten die auch mehr Zeit, könnten die das gesamte Ding mit mehr Detail ausschmücken, obwohl ja der meiste Player eh nicht auf Detail, oder zum Beispiel, guck mal, das sind Elevators, ne, du willst mir sagen, dass der normale Civilian, der hier reinläuft, ne, gehen wir mal zurück.
Having done a little bit of playtesting myself, I still have to give you credit for perhaps one of the most diabolical heavy weapon spawns, or heavy ammo spawns, rather.
Okay, guck mal, du willst mir honestly sagen, dass der Casual Civilian, wenn er hier rauskommt, über diese Ledge steppen muss, wenn er in den Fahrstuhl reinsteigt. Ich weiß, wie gesagt, das ist wieder so Bitching on Higher Class, Higher Level, aber... Oder zum Beispiel, wie funktioniert diese Tür? Normalerweise ist das ja irgendwie... in den Deepstone Crypt Tür, dass ich denke mal hier solche Mechanismen wirken, dass diese Tür eigentlich so eine Rotation hat, aber du kannst die Tür doch nicht einfach nur curven, Alter. Es muss doch trotzdem hier irgendeinen Schließmechanismus haben und das keine Ahnung. Also ich finde das halt hier sehr, so Acid Box, so ein bisschen sehr reingeschissen. Oder zum Beispiel, dass da halt einer von den, heben die Brille, dass da vorhin so ein Aquarium war mit einer von diesen Fischen, die wir jetzt gefangen haben. Das finde ich halt auch, das macht für mich nicht wirklich Sinn, weil kannst du auf Neomuna wirklich so einen Fisch finden oder warum ist der jetzt in Neomuna, hat man den dahin transportiert? Von wo auch immer, ne? Es macht da nicht wirklich Sinn.
In any PvP map, like the sheer amount of risk reward that goes into just making your way safely, or so you think, out to that particular territory.
Right.
As you guys were even building that balance in of these consumables on the map, Cooley, what was it like sort of having that process evolve or grow?
Yeah. Typically when we start laying out a map, we just kind of start with control because it's a good base point. It requires 3, very well-defined combat pockets that have an objective in them. But then from there, we start mapping out the other objectives that might exist on a map, like the heavy ammo point. And I think we've kind of gravitated more toward having special ammo live next to some of the other objectives on the map, so you're not constantly having to make a choice of where should I go. But we kind of map those things out, and it's sort of a formula. There's definitely a sort of a order of operations, so to speak, of you start with these big strokes, you go to the next stage and start making sure that you've got space and combat pockets for maybe Dominion or some other game modes, and things just kind of fall into place from there.
Excellent. All right. And we've got one more map to check out as well.
Der Typ, Alter, Andy. Yeah. Er redet übelst über sein Development, und Andy so, yeah, okay, well, okay, yeah, totally. Wie jetzt wäre es irgendwie aus Deadpool oder so, yeah, alright.
Well, fine folks at home, we're going to continue our guided tour. And we're going to make our way over to Essence, to one of the pyramid ships.
Yeah,
check out the final PvP map that'll be releasing in this pack. As we're flying in, I gotta give you guys credit. Like the space that exists inside those pyramid ships that's being terraformed by the Traveler looks just.
Er redet schon darüber, dass es geil aussieht. Ich will noch mal kurz sagen, wisst ihr, wie hart ich Bock habe eigentlich? Wollen wir mal wieder kurz checken. Hallo. Wisst ihr, wie hart ich eigentlich extrem Bock habe, dass ich auch mal Free Cam Mode habe in Destiny? Weil du könntest echt geile Screenshots machen, du könntest echt geile Moments vielleicht freezen und dann halt passt perfekt für Thumbnails und so, weißt du? Und du könntest da auch perfekt in bestimmten Spots dich hinstellen, irgendeine Geste machen und so. Perfekt für Thumbnails, Digga. Das haben wir ja leider noch nicht. Vielleicht kommt's ja noch. Let's go! Wow. Oh, jetzt Essence, Baby. Ich hab richtig Bock auf den Look. Er sagt ja auch schon, dass es geil aussieht.
Just absolutely incredible. But this is the first time you guys have had a chance to really flex your muscles and build a PvP map out here.
Awesome.
Rob, just to start from your perspective as we load in, what was it like developing this, playground for Guardians that's kind of so deep in the enemy's backyard?
I think it was really tough.
Yeah.
I remember there were quite a few iterations of this map, and I know Cooley's going to go into more detail, but like from a high level, it's a pretty inherently noisy palette. Cooley was talking about the clean zone. There's some palettes in the game that are just very visually noisy. So the geometry is noisy. They create a lot of shadow and a lot of highlights just by the geometry itself. And then the textures, the shaders that are on the geometry,
Dissonanz.
those can be noisy.
Yeah.
And then there's the clutter of the palette. So when you have an environment with a lot of entropy and there's just rubble everywhere, there's like garbage strewn around or plants hanging down, like we often do in Destiny, we have to declutter some of like the European Dead Zone maps, for example.
Nochmal ganz kurz, Unterbrechung. Eigentlich ist es bestimmt die Map, bei der ich jetzt am meisten erwarte, dass irgendwelche Floating Objects, also ihr müsst es auch mal ein bisschen aus so einem Dev-Ding sehen, ja, er sagt es ja auch gleich aus so einer Development-Perspektive, aber zum Beispiel jetzt auf der letzten Map hier in Neomuna, da habt ihr gesehen, da kamen ja ein paar Elevator runter, oder diese Fische, das sind ja Animated Objects, die obviously in einer PvP-Map, und ich finde, hier bei Dissonanz habe ich richtig schon irgendwie so das Gefühl, so, da wird wahrscheinlich, ihr habt es ja auch beim Intro schon gesehen, da war so ein sich twistender Obelisk und so, ich denke, das ist hier so am meisten. Hier ist wahrscheinlich die Map mit den meisten, das ist bestimmt wie so, wie heißt denn dieser eine Strike aus der Dreaming City? The Corrupted. so mit übelst viel Floating, also gut, ich glaube hier, dass hier halt schon einige Floating Objects sind und so, wie er jetzt eben gesagt hat, so crusty Stuff, vielleicht so zerbröselt irgendwo, der rumgravitated. Und allgemein, er hat ja auch gesagt, Noisy Palette, und damit meint er ja natürlich, die Farbpalette ist ziemlich sprinkly und spread, und wir können ja auch nachher mal auf die Artstation, auf den Artstation Stuff gehen, wenn ich es finde, wenn nicht, dann nicht. Da steht halt auch extra drin in der in dem Design, in den Design-Dingens, ne? Steht halt auch drin, chaotic colors or something, also halt irgendwie so chaotic. Ihr werdet es dann sehen, ich mach mal weiter.
Example,
Yeah.
are highly cluttered. And so this was an example of one of those fairly entropic, high clutter palettes
Yeah.
that the team had to kind of wrangle into shape.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about that process, because it was quite a
process. Die Surfaces
process.
von jetzt schon etwas ziemlich, also auf dem Boden könnte es mir, weißt du, so eine Pyramide ist doch halt nicht so komplett, so komplett flach, sondern die ist doch so eckig und dann, weißt du, so ungefähr wie es jetzt gerade hier drüben ist doch das eigentlich normalerweise sonst überall so, in jeder Textur. Das ist gerade sehr glatt noch, finde ich. Aber wir sehen weiter.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Cooley, I'd love to continue and just start there. You know, taking this space on a pyramid ship and kind of
Ey, da
making
ist
it
eine
suitable.
Winnower-Statue, habt ihr es gesehen?
I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about that process, because it was quite a process.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Cooley, I'd love to continue and just start there. You know, taking this space on a pyramid ship and kind of making it suitable for a PvP map. What was that process like from your perspective, kind of from more of a design side?
Yeah, it's again a process of back and forth. We start with mass out, and mass out is the simplest and cleanest a map will ever be. And from there we start
Ich will mal kurz sagen,
develop.
ich weiß nicht, ob das so korrekt ist. Also ich weiß, sorry, dass ich aber halt zum Beispiel in dem Design-Sheet stande, dass diese Blooms, also diese Flora hier immer nur spawnt bei solchen weißen Roots, weil die weißen Dinger, die haben unter sich so Flora. Also ich weiß nicht, ob das diejenigen wussten, die das hier reingesetzt haben, aber ich weiß nicht, ob das nicht ein bisschen falsch ist, weil das rein vom Design, von der Designidee des Artists, glaube ich, nicht so viel Sinn macht.
Developing the spatial character of the map, and one of the things we like to ask ourselves is, what is this place? And even with a more abstract palette like the Essence ship, it's worth asking that question, because we can leverage spatial archetypes that just kind of like naturally resonate with people. So like here we have, in this map, we have sort of these dueling huts, or these dueling ziggurats, and inside of them is this artifact or shrine. So maybe this is like maybe this part of the ship is a collection of mysterious artifacts that the witness has collected. And so we lean on those things to give a little bit of rhyme and reason to a space that otherwise is completely abstract. And that is also really useful for us in terms of, we can make any kind of space we want. Like, we're not limited by architectural constraints, but it can be tough sometimes to orient players in the map when you don't have things like doors or like TVs or any sort of human scale architectural pieces that kind of clue you in. So
ich finde es noch ein bisschen sehr
It's also too is I remember we were
By the
talking
way.
a little bit before the show, Rob, even about what it was like from a design standpoint and bringing in external testers to try these maps out for the first time. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and kind of, as you I think phrased it, discovering your own blind spots?
Yeah, well, we've done this before for years, really. And
Yeah.
we did it again here, and it was, I think, really successful, because it was 2 days. They ran through these maps when they were still in development. They weren't too far enough along where we couldn't make some pivots that we needed to.
Yeah.
And they found a lot of stuff. I mean, for this map, for example, we thought it was in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
And a lot of things were called out. They didn't pull any punches. They were honest and clear and constructive with the feedback. And it wasn't super easy to hear it all, but
Sure.
when the team listened to it, and we took tons of notes, and it was also about, they gave feedback on our sandbox as well.
Yeah.
But lots and lots of map feedback. It was incredibly useful. And just another lesson in what we don't see.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable to do that. And these, I can't say who they were, but they're very well-known community
Maybe
players.
some folks in chat, who knows? But
Yeah, but
You know who you are.
we really were careful about who we brought in, because we wanted people that would be very pragmatic. They weren't interested in their own, YouTube monetization strategy or how they particularly make content. They wanted the game to be in a great place. They wanted PvP to be in a great place for the community and for Destiny.
Absolutely.
Right? And they were carefully selected that way, and great communicators who could articulate the feedback. They could really speak to what they were experiencing and what we could do to fix what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
And I'd like Cooley can probably say what he thinks about it too. But I was just blown away by how valuable that was, and we definitely want to keep doing that.
Certainly, yeah. Cooley, can you tell us a little bit more about that experience on your side as well?
Totally. I mean, it's so fun to those are some of my favorite moments when we can get a bunch of super fans from the community in and show them work in progress stuff, and they can actually give us real actionable feedback that we take back to our desks and talk about it, and we discuss how can we sort of take their feedback and move forward. And this content is for them in a big way, right? Like we need their approval. Like we absolutely, that's our mark. That's our goal, is to create content that they're going to love playing and that they're excited to play and that their communities are going to get excited to play and sort of learn together and build strategies for. That's the funnest part of the job.
Yeah, I mean, also, Cooley, on your side in general, what are you most excited for players to experience once this gets out into the world with Into the Light?
Yeah, I'm excited to see these maps rotate into trials. I'm excited for players to have a totally new trials experience that, is going to be a sort of an experience of discovery of these new spaces and new strategies, and for players to also, the meta isn't really formed yet. I mean, like we sort of know how the map plays, but it's always a fun surprise to see in the wild just how the map ends up sorting out and what people end up doing, and we're really looking forward to just watching what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I count myself among the many that are excited to go ahead and dive on in, having more playgrounds to go ahead and dive on in on trials, no matter what the case is, to maybe try and go ahead and actually get some more competitive rank. Cooley, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through these today. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, my pleasure.
Wieder mal eine Sekunde zu spät.
Dive on in on trials, no matter what the case is, to maybe try and go ahead and actually get some more competitive rank. Cooley, thank you so much for taking
Das finde ich jetzt wiederum auch ein bisschen scheiße hier, dass dieses Recurring Pattern und sowas finde ich ein bisschen scheiße. Kommt halt vor wie wie Banderolenprint oder wie, oh shit, wir haben hier Unfinished Space. Guck mal, passt das irgendwie? Was würdet ihr sagen? Passt die Scheiße zueinander? Architektonisch? Nö. Gut, ich meine, mit Pyramid Ship hast du viel mehr kleinere Kacheln, Spots, Musterungen und etc. Ne? Aber zum Beispiel wäre das jetzt hier eine Titan Map, da hättest du freilich halt so einen Curvy-Übergang und sowas, aber ja, finde ich, wie gesagt, sowas hier finde ich ein bisschen cheaply reingehauen.
The time to walk us through these today. We really appreciate it.
Hat mich eigentlich voll gefreut auf die
And all right, well, we'll go ahead and use that as a moment to conclude the quick tour as well of the PvP maps. We got a quick question from chat from Jakasor asking about, are we going to get a playlist or mode? It'll be just these new maps during Into the Light. And the answer is yes. When they launch on May 7th, we'll have a 3v3 playlist to go ahead and talk just about these items.
Okay, die PvP-Maps launchen auch erst im Mai.
I'd rather let you play just those maps. Rather, we're talking about them today. They're all going to be playing them very shortly. All right, well, that so far wraps up the first two segments of our show. But we've got, as I mentioned at the top, a few more announcements for you as well. So you may have heard us mention the word Pantheon in the TWID last week, or even on the show here last week potentially as well.
Pantheon.
We have got a brand new raid boss gauntlet rather, starting on April 30th. Now there will be more information about this in an upcoming TWID. You'll have more details to dig into shortly, but you will have the Pantheon coming up, where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge with escalating difficulties and rewards. Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fire team with Fireteam Finder, if you're able to track them down, to go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands on. But we have more details for that in the coming weeks. Keep an eye on the TWID. Cosmo and the community team, thank you for your hard work putting that together. 2. When you dive on in on April 9th, actually rather before we get there, I'm sorry, we will have the opportunity to also, you'll have the opportunity to get a title through your course of Into the Light as well. So if you dive on in, go ahead and unlock all the triumphs associated with the seal, you'll be able to march into the final shape with a brand new title, Brave, as well. So make sure, go ahead and get those big challenges bit offs. That way you can handle them as early as you possibly can and let the witness know that you're on the way. And we have 3 really, really cool things hitting on April 9th when Into the Light launches. The first one is, if you're a new player, you got a buddy who's just jumping into the game for the first time, and you'd rather not hang out with Shahan and the Cosmodrome, then you have an opportunity to go ahead and just join the front lines. You can skip the new Light campaign, give Shahan maybe a high five on the way out, ask him for a weekly bounty when you're back later, but you have a chance to go ahead and meet up with your friends, head to the Hall of Champions, grab the gift of the Thunderlords if you so choose, and get ready for battle alongside them. So you'll be able to go ahead and grab some of these new Light kits as well, depending on what your subclass of choice is out of the gate, but your barriers to dive in with your friends have never been lower. There'll be a chance to go ahead and dive on into everything you're seeing with Into the Light here. Also, we have a couple more things. We have some questions in chat about this as well from Idzepski and Atlas Live TV, but on 4.9, you'll have the opportunity to also change the way your character looks. So you'll be able to go ahead and change your hair if you didn't like your haircut, if you want to go ahead and change your face paint, if you want to go ahead and risk it to be one of those Guardians who goes helmetless in the tower. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough, but I know many of you are. Your chance will be arriving very soon with Into the Light. And there will also be an opportunity to change your name. So Guardian 4681 out there, with the launch of Into the Light, we're also going to give you 1 more name change token. If you already have yours sitting around, I believe you have 2, but our friends in DPS will be able to answer that question for you. But you'll have that chance as well once Into the Light launches.
That's it?
Now, there's a lot, but we also have 1 more thing for all of you. Next
Wahrscheinlich das Beste überhaupt jetzt. Come on, das ist jetzt der beste Shit, den jetzt hier announcen.
week, we're going to be joining you again for a special developer preview of some gameplay for Destiny 2: The Final Shape. It'll be here, wherever you're watching live, you'll be able to go ahead and watch it on April 9th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Where you'll get a chance to basically, again, get a look behind the scenes. The developers have been hard at work for some cool stuff that you are definitely not going to want to miss. And over the course of that show, Twitch drops will be live. So there'll be another emblem, which you can see here live on the screen, that'll be available after about 15 minutes of view time. If you haven't gone ahead and also unlocked the emblems that you got as a result of this show or that we're having available during the Into the Light streams, then you have a chance to go ahead and spend some more time unlocking those as well. But that does it. For starters, to all of you Guardians out there in chat, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We're thrilled about what we've been able to show off and thrilled about what the team's been working on for Into the Light. So thank you for taking the time to join us. Chat, we see you out there having a good time, so thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Also, it goes without saying, but we'll go ahead and do so anyway, to the incredible team here at Bungie, building Into the Light, making all of this, the teams that you guys have been kind enough to represent. Thank you all so much for all of your hard work. We're nothing without the entire teams that we have here. Teams are obviously greater than heroes, and we're firm believers in that. You're all great examples of that whole scenario. To our play testers as well that have helped us bring this show to life, to Ashley, Peyton, and Michael here behind the scenes, thank you so much for showing off some of the cool new content, and of course all of our guests, to Tom, to Rob, to Cooley, to Willie, to Noah, to Kelsey. I'm not forgetting anyone, am I?
Chris.
To Chris, thank you for the one and only Mr. Chris Proctor as well.
In the building.
Thank you all for joining us. And now that is about it. So we're going to keep the stream here live until about 11:30, I believe, so you can go ahead and get a little bit more time racking up the last bits of those emblems. But in the meantime, that's it for all of us here at Bungie. Oh, also, I'm sorry, to the team of producers here, everyone here that makes this show possible, they have the challenge of making me look good on camera. So obviously their work is cut out for them. Thank you all so much for helping bring this show to life. And now, finally, we're going to go ahead and sign off. And reminder, Into the Light launches next week. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
Und jetzt mal Send off! Bye bye, okay. My eyes are bleeding. Okay, das geht jetzt nur noch 10.000 Jahre lang. Übrigens, by the way, ich sollte mich dann halt auch mal anmelden, ne? Das machen wir dann schon noch. Also, okay, Leute, da wir ja jetzt hier... ich meine, ich könnte jetzt die Mucke laufen lassen, aber glaubt mir, Alter. Jetzt geht's hier wieder... die Mucke wiederholt sich dann ein, so... warte, fuck. Die Mucke... wiederholt sich in so einem Loop halt. So. Anyway. Gut, wir sind jetzt quasi am Endsegment angekommen, ne? So ungefähr 1,23. Yeah! Ja, aber ich will euch jetzt noch was zeigen, Leute. So, dann gehen wir mal rein. Ich hoffe, dass natürlich die Tastensounds nicht... Oh, yeah. Okay, ja, das wird jetzt ein bisschen laut. Warte mal, ist der schön. Bungie Lightfall. Art Blast. Oh, Baby. Warte mal, ich muss jetzt wirklich meine Visage mal komplett wegchangen. Also, den Stuff swippen wir mal hier rüber. Yeah! Und dann können wir hier gleich mal scrollen, Alter. Yo, also auf jeden Fall hier, die ist das unwichtig. Ja, auf jeden Fall, das ist auch ziemlich geil. Jacob Gonzalez. Ich weiß nicht, ob der jetzt quasi... Ja, sorry, das wird jetzt noch ein paar Mal kommen, dieser Übrigens, by the way, ich glaube, das Design-Ding hier hinter war so, yo, irgendwie Sterne als Augen, so, ne, so ungefähr Starside, so, also sowieso, ich weiß gar nicht, ob das überhaupt eine wirkliche, das ist bestimmt Techian Regalia oder sowas, Techian Suit, ne, yeah, ihr werdet es sonst noch irgendwo sehen, ja, gehen wir auch mal hier rein, oh, Gabriel Garza, übrigens, by the way, merkt euch mal dieses Image. Boom, boom. Und wir gehen jetzt mal ganz kurz auf Hyperlight. Oh ja, yeah, perfekt geschrieben. Hyperlight Breaker. Hyperlight Breaker. Mal Trailer. Okay. Ich mach's mal ein Stück leiser. Fällt euch da was auf? Ich lass mal laufen für euch. Studio Heart Machine. Oh mein Gott. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh, thanks Alex Preston for bringing us shit like that. Oh my God. Heart Machine, Studio Heart Machine. Ja, geht mir auch gleich ins Herz. Aber ihr habt ja gesehen, ne, dass das hier so, warte mal. Ja, ja, genau. Irgendwie, das ist doch hier voll ähnlich, oder? Wenn man das ja nochmal so... Ich bin zu blöd dazu. So, hier. Check dich doch mal das. Okay, diese Szene... Ich meine, ihr habt es jetzt gesehen mittlerweile, ne? Das ist schon klar, aber... Wow! Ja, also für mich hat das irgendwie so ein similar Vibe. Anyway, ja, ich weiß nicht, irgendwo war hier noch, bestimmt war das jetzt hier Tobias Guan. Laut. Eardrums erstmal raus explodiert. Ja, da seht ihr mal hier so das gesamte, den ganzen Thought Process. Auch hier, Rolf, können wir gleich mal so abladen hier. Ja, Alter, seht ihr das? Seht ihr das, Leute? Könnt ihr das sehen? Warte mal ganz kurz. So, ich shifte mich mal hier rüber. Leute, ich meine Leute, oder? Hier, das war mal so ein Callous-Konzept quasi, dass er dann hier so verschmilzt mit der Darkness und so. Das ist halt so. Oder hier, steht auch da, warte mal. Pyramid Brain Surgery. Eigentlich voll geil. Das hat auch für mich irgendwie so einen Darth Vader-Vibe. Nicht, dass ich jetzt ein Star Wars-Fan bin, aber ich meine halt so dieses Implant. Und hier drüben war ja noch was mit Rolk. Seht ihr? Ich will euch das noch kurz zeigen. Da gibt es einige Sachen, die definitiv nicht eingeflossen sind. Wenn man sich... ihr müsst euch das reinziehen, Leute. Zieht euch die Scheiße rein. Gebt den Leuten mal Credit, Alter. Ohne Fuck, Digga. Ich glaube, ich krieg das irgendwie nie so richtig mit. Aber ich glaube, wenn man sowas created hat, dann ist man selber einfach nur proud of sich. Ja. Ich weiß nicht, das ist auch so ein venöses Ding. Also, hier, so Arterien-Stuff. Er erklärt das noch hier, glaube ich, hier. Nee. Zum Beispiel das hier. Oh. Da kriegst du Kimimaru-Vibes, wenn du das siehst hier aus Naruto. Hier, Pulse Vein Sword out of Arm. So. Einfach nur geil. Ich glaube, das ist halt einfach nicht mit drin, aber halt, wäre doch geil so. Und das hier auch, dieses Design-Konzept mit dem hier Parent Two Fingers to Same Joint. Halt, das habe ich auch mal irgendwo gelesen, dass das, ja, das hat sogar eigentlich irgendwie so richtig Elite-Style, so, also sagen Haley aus Halo. Ja. Oh mein Gott, hier, oder halt die verschiedenen Phasen, zum Beispiel Subjugator Phase, Phase 2, Phase 1, halt, wie so so zum Beispiel die Venen oder die Arterien sich so, die Gefäße auf seinem Körper sich so zeigen, weißt du. So viel Work ist in diese Sachen gegangen, ja. Einfach, oder hier, ich weiß nicht, was das für ein Ding ist. Yu-Gi-Oh! Player kennt es vielleicht auch noch. Es gab mal so ein Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck mit so einem Vampir-Deck, so ein Zombie-Vampire-Deck, glaube ich. Ja. Street Fighter. So ist der Dorito Fighter. Auch diese Fighter Stance. 3 Weak Points on the, also halt die verschiedenen Phasen, so zum Beispiel, welche Punkte exposed werden und was dann halt in verschiedenen Stages halt so an sichtbaren Elementen auf der Haut zu sehen ist und so, ne? Auch diese, so, da kriegst du richtig hier diese, kennt ihr doch diese Rotzraptoren aus, ich sag mal, Jurassic Park? Jurassic Park. Ich mach mal halt, Spitting Dinosaur. Kommt jetzt locker erstmal Werbung. Ihr seht ja schon, dieser Kamm, wisst ihr, dieser venöse Kamm, Dilophosaurus, genau. Ja, warte mal. Ja, genau. Das hat hier auch so einen richtigen, geil. Loving it. I'm loving it. Ja. Okay, da sind wir hier auch schon angekommen. Was wollte ich euch eigentlich direkt zeigen? Ja, genau, das Lightfall-Dingens. Lightfall. Da müssen wir weiter runter. Irgendwo kam halt auch das Pyramiden. Wahrscheinlich habe ich das sogar schon irgendwo hier, ne? Nee, das ist es nicht. Aber ist das jetzt hier? Ja, gehen wir einfach mal hier drauf. Verschiedene Elemente hier, Stages und so. Halt, ihr seht auch ein bisschen der. Oh Gott, geil! Ich weiß nicht, wie sie es machen, aber die juggeln, zum Beispiel hier haben wir einen Deep Blue, ne? Gut, Blau und Orange ist immer eine gute Kontrastfarbe, aber halt dann hier solche Purple mit Red ins Orange übergehen, dann haben wir wieder Grün ins Gelbe. Irgendwo war das halt auch so aufgezeigt. Was steht da hier nochmal? Pieces of the Tomb could was? Spiral around the irgendwas. Irgendwo war das hier mit der Color Pattern, mit der Color Palette. Ihr seht es halt, es ist halt so geil, light attuned, bla bla bla. Okay, das war's schon. Ja, irgendwo war das noch. Ja, ich glaube hier weiter unten. Ich habe nämlich gestern nach sowas gesucht, nach einem passenden Background für einen, ja genau. Gehen wir mal einfach mal, sorry, dass das jetzt laut wird, ich mach mal leise. So, 50. Hier, ihr seht da, der Typ hat für Wonderlands auch gemacht. Geh mal einfach mal hier irgendwas aufrufen. Und das auch noch. So. Und ihr seht halt irgendwo hier unten, oh my god, damn, Jesus Christ. Halt dieses Cherry Blossom Pink. Oh Gott, Bro. Und dann halt dieses Calcium-Weiß, dieses Elfenbein-Weiß hier schon, Alter. Purple, na gut, das Purple finde ich ein bisschen zu aggressive hier, aber naja. Ich finde das eigentlich schon ziemlich mein. Diese ganze Komposition, das ist wie so ein irgendwie, weiß nicht, wie so ein Christmas-Cookie, oder? So dieses Braun, dieses Graubraun mit so glowendem, brighten Orange wahrscheinlich. Oh my gosh. Ich könnte richtig drüber abjissen gerade wahrscheinlich hier. Naja, gut, das ist jetzt offensichtlich nicht der Artist, der das mal so richtig angegeben hat. Das Element habt ihr wahrscheinlich auch gesehen. Ja, das war jetzt, glaube ich, nämlich auch in der PvP-Map nochmal reused worden. Dieses Ding hier. Ja. Ja, ist jetzt eigentlich auch, wie gesagt, egal. Concept Art und sowas. Ich wusste auch nicht, dass es übrigens sowas wie Vista Artist gibt. Ich scroll mal ein Stück runter, ich werde es dann schon sehen. World Artist. Seth Vista Artist. Leute, die dafür zuständig sind, dass so richtige Background Spaces oder richtige, geil. Es gibt so viele Departments, Alter, in einem. Obwohl ich eigentlich finde, dass Vista Artist jetzt gar nicht so das Ding sein muss. Ich meine, man braucht ja theoretisch nur ein Gamer sein und sich irgendwo hin placen, deswegen halt auch Photo-Mode und dann machst du dir halt einen geilen Background oder sowas. Obwohl, naja, bei Bungie, die haben halt 4K-Tools, ne? Da sieht das nicht unbedingt immer so trashy aus. Zum Beispiel, wenn ich hier drauf gehen würde. Ja, das ist schon so aus einem Angle, wodurch das jetzt, finde ich persönlich, jetzt so durch meine Brille gerade, nicht so muddy. Zum Beispiel, wenn ihr keine Xbox Series S oder X habt, dann wirkt halt Destiny, finde ich, immer noch sehr muddy in manche Texturen laden nicht. Ja, aber ansonsten. Okay, das war theoretisch das. Oh yeah. Da gibt's bessere Spaces. Hier war ich übrigens noch nicht. Ich habe Tiny Tina's Wonderlands nie so weit gezockt bislang. Oh yeah. Ziemlich vom Endboss. Ja, also ich weiß nicht, kann man das mal ganz kurz googeln? Googeln wir doch einfach mal Destiny One Shader. Also ich will da noch mal ganz kurz drauf, genau. Ich habe nämlich gestern, wie gesagt, in Destiny nach, mal ganz kurz, ich brauche mal wieder ein bisschen Facial Check, so. Ich habe in Destiny, meine fucking Kamera, Jo, ich habe gestern in Destiny 1, ich brauchte halt ich brauchte die Tiger Mask, ne, für mein Thumbnail. Ich habe gedacht, okay, die gibt's doch in Destiny 2 auch, oder? Wusste ich nicht mehr. Und da habe ich mir so überlegt, ja, bin auf meinen Account gebounced, aber ich habe die Tiger Mask, sollte sie in Destiny 2 geben, nicht freigeschaltet bisher. Deswegen dachte ich dachte nicht dran, ob ich vielleicht auf meinen Buddy seinen Account hoppen sollte, mal kurz. Deswegen bin ich in Destiny 1 gebounced und yes, indeed, ich habe dort die Tiger Mask gefunden. Und es gibt einen Destiny One Shader, Alter. Leute, das zeige ich euch jetzt gleich noch. Warte, dann ziehen wir uns mal wieder hier rüber. Ich muss das verkleinern, please. Es gibt einen Destiny One Shader, der hat wie so eine Tiger Fur Texture. Aber das war auch irgendwas mit einer Nummer, glaube ich. Das war irgendwas mit 321. Das war, glaube ich, gemischt 321 oder so hieß das Ding. Beowulf, Blood Pact, Bone Marrow, Candy Apple, Yes. Kryptografik. Kann man das dann sich dann auch mal einziehen oder so, wie das dann aussieht? Debt Unpaid. Ich wollte halt nach sowas drin, was aussieht wie so Stahl oder beziehungsweise wie so, nicht gerade Kupfer unbedingt, aber halt so ein bisschen Golden. Golden Stuff. God of War, Glowhu, Iris Germanica. Oh, germanische Schwertlilie. Ja, das ist geil, das Ding. Das war einer meiner Lieblingsshader in Destiny 1. Wie das? SRL Event. Nineveh. Oracle 99, Phosphor. Ja, Substance 321. Alter, Substance 321. Leider kann man nichts sehen, aber halt, ich sag euch, Bros, yeah, Bro, Homies, Bros, Dudes. Auf jeden Fall, geht in Destiny 1 rein, falls ihr ein geiles Thumbnail braucht. Ich werde das halt vielleicht auch mal zeigen. Nehmt euch die Tiger Mask, jetzt perfekt für Into the Light. Obwohl, ich habe eine Idee. Machen wir mal ganz kurz. Ich habe eine Idee, warte mal. DVS, ach nee, LF 4K. Scheiße, Mann. Okay, warte mal, da gehen wir mal woanders rein. Web. Da gehen wir mal in war das hier drin? Nee, da müssen wir leider mal auf Desktop und dann müssen wir mal auf Yes. Da sind wir nämlich im Destiny Tweak Shop und dann macht man nämlich das. Genau. Nice. So, jetzt haben wir wenigstens noch einen geilen Background, während ich reden kann. Yo, auf jeden Fall. Geht in Destiny 1 rein. Nehmt euch die Tiger Mask und nehmt euch irgendeine Suit, die ihr habt. Irgendeine Rüstung. Ich habe beispielsweise so eine Iron Banner Rüstung, falls ihr die freigeschaltet habt. Oder eine, ich zeige euch, das werdet ihr dann im Thumbnail sehen. Oder die halt so eine Age of Triumph Rüstung gibt es da halt auch. Also halt egal was für, also ich habe auf Warlock gezockt, das dependet natürlich an welchem Charakter ihr zockt. Wenn ihr auf dem Hunter zockt, habt ihr es natürlich geil, ihr habt einen Cloak. Also halt, ne? Aber ich finde, irgendwas mit Fell sollte schon dabei sein, deswegen diese Triumphalrüstung und sowas. Und ich habe nicht so geile Bein-Exos. Also ich habe nämlich dann halt nur die transversiven Schritte. Aber an sich, so mit Substanz 321, wirkt das, als hättet ihr ein Tigerfell. Ne? Und ich weiß nicht, die Destiny 1 nicht kennen, in Destiny 1 war es halt eben so, hast du einen Shader, applied dieser Shader auf alles auf deiner Rüstung. Also egal, jedes... Und ich habe gestern noch was rausgefunden, wieder mal, also wieder nochmal, bro, shit. Das war gestern, man hat offensichtlich die Möglichkeit in Destiny 1, also jeder Charakter kann ein Exo freischalten auf seinem Klassengegenstand, also ein Exo-Reif, ein Titanzeichen oder ein Hunter-Cloak. Und zu diesem Exo könnt ihr noch ein weiteres Exo ausrüsten, ne? Wie geil, Alter. Das ist, glaube ich, die einzige Ausnahme in Destiny, also das ist definitiv die einzige Ausnahme in Destiny, in der man möglicherweise 2 Exos zeitgleich tragen kann. Ja, anyway. Gut, ich meine, bla bla bla, das bla bla bla. Genug gelabert. Ja, kann man euch noch irgendwas zeigen? Erstmal noch nicht. Ja. Genug gelabert, ich meine 1,40 gleich. Aufnahme beendet, Leute. Wir sehen uns nächste Woche nochmal. Ich hätte jetzt nicht gedacht. Ja, Bro, ihr seht mich nächste Woche nochmal. Euer fucking Nightmare verfolgt euch bis ins scheiß Tum, ey. Ich bin doch nicht dann jetzt. Anyway. Naja, wir sehen uns hoffentlich dann auch mit einem Stream. Wir werden sehen. Skaten wir erstmal raus. Okay, dann ja, ich habe echt nichts mehr zu labern. Bye.